My name is Iris Caballero, and today you will be learning how to hold productive meetings. More than 11 million business meetings take place in the U.S. every day. So with those statistics in mind, you'll likely be part of several, if not many, meetings throughout a week in your career. A recent trend actually shows that employers are relying more on employees to take leadership of meetings. However, research shows that 50% of meeting time is wasted. And also, 71% of American workers say meetings weren't even productive. A good way for you to stand out from the crowd when asked to lead a meeting is by leading a productive meeting. This is why you need to learn how to lead a productive meeting. A productive meeting achieves three different things. You want to make sure that you achieve the meeting's objective by the end of it. Another thing that it accomplishes is that it uses your time efficiently. You don't want wasted time. Also, you want to make sure that the meeting leaves participants feeling accomplished. There are different elements of a productive meeting, and today we will be learning how to apply the three different elements of a meeting. It is preparation, execution, and the closing of a meeting. The quote here by Alexander Graham Bell says, "Before anything else, preparation is the key to success." The reason I put this quote on here is because today we will be focusing a lot on preparation. The preparation of a meeting is really important. You want to answer the 5 W's of preparation before you begin a meeting. You're going to ask yourself, who needs to attend the meeting? What must be covered? Where will this meeting take place? When will the meeting take place? And why do we need to achieve this objective? An extra question too is, how will you be achieving this objective? After you've answered the preparation questions, you can put all of this information together in what we call a meeting agenda. The meeting agenda is something that you provide to people, to participants that will be coming to the meeting before they arrive to the meeting. In the meeting agenda, you should include requirements or materials. The requirements or materials that are needed in the meeting to be effective could include things like reading an article, researching an expense report. Maybe even a participant has a specific item that they need to discuss during the meeting, and that needs to be prepared as well. Other things that are included in the meeting agenda are the key points. The key points are different items that you will be going over that need to be covered in the meeting. This is your what question in the preparation process. After you list all of these key points in sequential order, you want to list the timing that you want to allow for each of these key points. This will make sure that when participants show up to the meeting, they're able to follow along with the meeting, as well as make sure that you are staying on track with the meeting. Some preparation tips are, as far as scheduling goes, you want to keep meetings under 45 minutes. If you have a meeting that's going to cover a lot, and it's going to go over the 45 minutes, then you should schedule a break between every 45 minutes. Something else that you might want to, the reason why you might want to consider that is because nowadays people need to look at their emails, need to look at their phones, and if you don't schedule a time for a break, you'll find that people start sneaking their phones and sneaking their, iPads under the table to try to keep up with their emails. So just go ahead and give them the break that they need to feel on top of things, and this will allow for more productive input while they're in the meeting. Also, when scheduling a meeting, you want to try and schedule it in the morning. The reason for this is because people are coming into work and they are more energized in the morning. some other key tips here are, if you want a meeting that's very fast, something you can do is schedule it right before lunch, because people will try and come up with a decision or an agreement if they know that lunch is coming up and they want to make sure that they get to lunch on time. Also, whenever you are inviting participants to show up for this meeting, you want to keep in mind how many participants you're going to invite. You want to have the participants that you want to invite depend on the type of meeting you're having. If you're going to have a meeting that's focused on just sharing information, then you can have an unlimited amount. Because a lot of times, if you're working for a really big corporation and they're trying to get a lot of information as far as, health benefits are changing and things like that, what they'll do is they'll just video conference everybody. And so in that situation, it's okay to have unlimited amount of participants. During brainstorming meetings, it's recommended that you have 20 to 35 people. In discussions, it's recommended to be less than 20 so that, the meeting is, remains under control. And during decision making, you really want to leave it at 3 to 6 people. And that's just because you don't want too much confusion while the decision making is going on. This takes us to the next step, which is meeting execution. During the meeting, you want to stay on track. So you want to start on time and you want to make sure that you end on time. This will make sure that the participants begin to really trust you and know that you're going to have meetings that are running effectively. And the meeting agenda, you could always use the meeting agenda to stay on track. One of the reasons why you made the meeting agenda is to keep up with the timing, so you want to make sure that you use the timing. Also, you want to make sure that you follow the points so that you can stay on focus. While the meeting is going on, you want to make sure that you address any accomplishments that participants have made. Try to keep any criticism for one-on-one meetings. Don't use that during the meeting, because this will allow for a very encouraging environment, and that just helps everybody else work effectively. Also, you want to make sure that you include all of the participants in the meeting. If several people are dominating a meeting, what you want to do is you want to encourage others to provide input by maybe looking at them and asking them a question like, hey, what do you think about this? Just because this way, once participants feel that they are giving input, then they feel more involved in the meeting as well. And they feel that the meeting is more effective for them as well. And the last thing, during the meeting, you want to monitor body language. If your crowd starts looking like this, which they're just basically asleep in the conference room, then maybe it's time that you begin closing the meeting. And so if you could read down there, it says, "At last, we've reached a consensus. This meeting is boring." So you don't want to bore your participants to death. When you begin closing the meeting, something that you want to do is, if during the meeting items were brought up that maybe weren't part of the key points that were being discussed, then you want to make sure that you note those items. The reason you want to do this is because if you need to maybe answer questions or have any items to follow up with, by noting them, you ensure that they are brought up in maybe a different meeting. You also want to summarize the current meeting. By summarizing the current meeting, what you will do is you'll go through all the key points, and you kind of will just go over the consensus on each point. So something like, on the expense reports, we decided that we will cut on this. Just so that everybody kind of, it wraps up the meeting and leaves everybody with a better understanding. Also, if there were any items that needed to be that needed to be completed. These are what we call action items. And you want to make sure that you list the action items, that you make somebody responsible for completing these action items, and that you also give them a due date. So that's why under action items it says for whom and by when. Some follow-up tips for after the meeting, and this is more for you personally. When you are done with the meeting, you want to evaluate yourself and see, what was positive about this meeting and what was negative about this meeting. And this will help you just improve in your leading skills during a meeting, because you'll be able to just, take the good from this last meeting and try to leave the bad. Also, you want to provide meeting minutes, and you want to do this within 24 hours while the meeting is still fresh in people's minds. And also, you want to schedule follow-up meetings. This is important, especially when we're talking about the action items, or when we're referring to the items that maybe just couldn't be discussed during this meeting, different focus points. The reason that you want to schedule up this follow-up meeting is because maybe not all of the participants in the last meeting really need to be there to discuss this meeting. So you want to make sure that that you only invite the participants that need to be there for this follow-up meeting. And lastly, I just want to remind you that a meeting is an opportunity to demonstrate your ability to lead and to deliver results through others. This is a really good way for you to start off on a right foot at your new job. So by preparing, executing, and closing a meeting effectively, you will be well on your way to deliver a productive meeting. Thank you.